Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked on Lakers for Sunday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. It's over. The streak is over. The Lakers have beaten the Denver Nuggets. There will be a game 5. How did it happen? We'll tell you next.
You are Locked on Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked on Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, and obviously on Sundays as well. Always free, never above paywall. Locked on Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 23,000, almost 24,000 subscribers who are overjoyed. The Lakers finally, Andy, nobody beats the Los Angeles Lakers 12 straight games. Finally have beaten the Denver Nuggets. They win game 4. 119-108 is the final. There will be a game 5. It'll be in Denver on Monday. It's funny, Andy, in a lot of ways, this game was the same movie that we've seen 3 times, except they finally changed the ending in a way that worked out for the Lakers.
It's like those times in Hollywood where they have a movie that they think is a hit, but they can't land on the ending, and they keep test screening it. They finally landed on the ending that Laker fans liked. Like they kept taking it over and over to the theaters, and all these test screenings kept bombing. And finally, they just landed on let the Lakers win. And this one was a hit, baby.
Guys, it seems so obvious, but is it too trite? Should we just let them win a game and see how they like it?
Nothing is too trite when it comes to the Lakers winning. Like, this is a formula that has stood the test of time when it comes to winning audiences over. For, people say, oh, it's too commercial, it's too obvious. You know what? Play the hits, damn it. And the hits are the Lakers winning championships.
David Stern said it himself. The ideal final is Lakers versus Lakers. Look, we're in a space now where, at the very least, the streak is over. And it's funny, like I said, this game had so many similarities to the other ones in the series that the Lakers just hold on to this lead and win by 11. But the constant, Andy, I will say, through 4 games, another monster game, this one historic in nature from Anthony Davis. 11-17 from the floor, 25 points, 23 rebounds, 6 assists, a block, and only 1 turnover. He was awesome in this game. It's actually, as well as he has played throughout this series. The Lakers, are not in the predicament they are in because of Anthony freaking Davis. That's for sure. This was the best one. And that's saying something because the other ones are pretty good.
Michael Pena over at The Ringer, I believe he's been on the show before. I know he has been on shows we have hosted in the past, but he tweeted out there might be 3 players having a more impressive postseason than Anthony Davis, and one of them is the guy he has to guard. It just speaks to how much is needed from Anthony Davis in this series against Denver. Like we've talked about before, he is needed to raise his level to not where you expect him to outplay Nikola Jokic, because that's not realistic, because Jokic is incredible and he is on balance a better player than Anthony Davis, but he's needed to consistently
operating with a better support system.
Right. But he has needed to, at baseline, if the Lakers were going to be competitive and if they want to have any type of chance as the underdogs, they've needed AD to play this thing to pretty much a draw. And that takes, by the way, a hell of a performance if you're just going to draw against Jokic. AD's been given a hell of a performance.
It's, this one in particular. I will say one of the things, there have not been a whole lot, and we'll get into who bounced back and what else the Lakers were doing. Reaves and Russell, for example, LeBron, who has been, I think, pretty good overall in the series, but has had moments where fourth quarters have been tough or whatever, was great down the stretch in this game. So it's a bounce.
This was
back
the first game.
LeBron.
It was the first game that LeBron did not seem tired in the second half.
Yeah, and he played a little less, which is kind of interesting too. So there's a lot, obviously, and when they win the game, there's a lot going on that was constructive for the Lakers. But I will say the one thing that I hope comes out of this series is Lakers still got a long way to go here before anybody can start getting too excited, is that Anthony Davis showed up. Like, there should be some sense of that game two. The worst thing you can say about it is in game two he couldn't, wasn't big down the stretch, but he was still overall quite good in that game. I mean, it wasn't like that was a clunker of a game. But I hope AD, in what could be a 5-game, 6-game, whatever kind of series, 7-game, who knows, gets a little bit of love for the type of performances that he's put in, even if the team has not gone the way that, it hasn't gone the way that any Lakers fan would want.
I hope he will. I doubt he will, because that's just sort of the nature of Anthony Davis. And look, in the past, we've talked about before, there have been times in Anthony Davis's Lakers career where it's felt like the impact on games has not matched the numbers, where you don't, as we often put it, feel Anthony Davis. And we've also been, I think, especially towards the end of last season, starting to become aware of the idea of, we don't want to be perpetuating a narrative about Anthony Davis that is too hypercritical of him. But regardless, this season ain't the season to be complaining about that, because he has been incredible on both sides of the ball.
Well, I mean, it's not that he's shut down Jokic, and Jokic had a great, I mean, like, it's so funny. Like this, you talk about a guy, right? You talk about why is he, I think that generally people think he's the best player in the world, because like you didn't necessarily think Jokic had a, like, great game where you feel like he's done. A lot of this gets based on scoring, obviously, where you look at a guy's, how much is he scoring or this, that, and whatever. But like, he kind of, and then you look up at the end of the game and he's got 33, 14, and 14. It's just, he is absurd. And the multifaceted nature of his skill set. And somebody else pointed this out too, for all the jokes about what he looks like and the dad bod and grew and this and that, whatever, he's in remarkable shape. He does not fade late in games. He's not, sort of a dude who's, overweight and this and that, whatever. The athleticism, he doesn't jump out of the gym. But as an athlete who can endure for 48 minutes, he does not fade. It's incredibly impressive. So, AD has done his part. It was interesting to see LeBron. I think they tried to manage his minutes a little bit. He still pushed up into 40, but he was, 38, 39 minutes and all that. But he came into the fourth at like 26, 27 minutes. So like he was, they were, they had the luxury of the lead, Andy, but like it felt like they were trying to get LeBron to a place where he could be really strong down the end. And he had two or three huge plays down the stretch in the fourth when Denver looked like they might eat away at that lead.
Yeah, the most truly exerted LeBron looked in this game was that period where he was screaming at Darvin Ham and the entire coaching staff because he wanted them to challenge a ball that was deemed off the Lakers, out of bounds, giving it back to Denver. He was adamant that this was off Denver. It should be their ball. Lakers didn't end up challenging it, though, should be noted, Darvin Ham won one hell of a challenge in the last 40 seconds of a game, challenging that a ball went off D'Angelo Russell. Instead, it actually went off Jamal Murray, and they kept that possession, and that ended up giving the Lakers an opportunity.
Sort of a game icing challenge.
Right. But LeBron was so pissed off about this and so animated and screaming when the ball was eventually inbounded for Denver and it ended up a Jamal Murray score. LeBron wasn't even facing the court when it happened. He was facing the bench, screaming. Right,
and had like half the team was watching LeBron, not watching. Yeah, it was
I
bad.
Tweeted this out at Cam Brothers. I'm not exaggerating. He was looking at the bench as the game was going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you are this was a game where it felt like LeBron had his energy from start to finish. And whether it's because other guys stepped up more and he didn't have to carry as much over the course of the game, which allowed him to really be able to pace himself for that fourth quarter, or whether he just recognized, look, man, I don't have the luxury of being tired anymore. So,
He also has a phenomenal. He's got a great track record in closeout games.
Yeah,
like when he's absolutely in danger of being closed out. Like
absolutely
puts up numbers.
Sure, no question. But this was the first time in this series where I did not think in the second half LeBron was like that. His energy was flagging, and that it looked like he was getting exhausted. And that obviously makes a big difference. You know, as far as the overall energy, before we get to D'Lo and Reaves in this game for the Lakers, this was the first game where, to me, it felt like from start to finish, the Lakers matched Denver's physicality. Like they ended up winning the rebound battle 46-40. They won the second chance points, which I don't know if that's happened against Denver in all of the 11 losses that they have, but they won the second chance points 14-5. They prevented Denver from getting just anything over 5 second chance points. They won the paint battle 72-52 points in the paint. Denver only had one more offensive rebound than them, 9-8. Aaron Gordon was held to 3 rebounds and none on the offensive glass. That was, I think, very emblematic of the way they took it to Denver along those terms that Denver has dictated, because Denver is one of the only teams in the league that's bigger than them, particularly with no Jared Vanderbilt. And Christian Wood was available tonight, but he didn't actually play. But Denver is one of the few teams in the league that the Lakers don't have a size advantage over. And that's really come across most pronounced on the glass. And I thought the Lakers did a great job just being conscientious of it. Every single Laker that played got at least 1 rebound, and 6 of the 9 Lakers that played got at least 3. So that's really good work.
Yeah, and you know, obviously Davis leading the way, particularly early in that. But you know, the Lakers as a group did they got key rebounds when they really need them, got key buckets down the stretch when they needed. Just the stuff that wasn't happening in the last quarter of games certainly did much more on Saturday. So lots more to get into, including the guys who bounced back and why I think this win is important for the Lakers, even if it doesn't translate into something larger for them in terms of like a series win or whatever. So we'll get to it next.
First, want to let people know that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver who likes to push things a little bit further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue, it's perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive Google built-in is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone like a savage. Google Assistant, Google Maps, Google Play Store, they're built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment center. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. It's got room up to 8, expansive cargo capacity, advanced 4x4 capability, plus 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds of towing. So take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by DoorDash. Like a lot of people, I use DoorDash for food. I have a lot of things delivered. Love having taking advantage of DoorDash to get the all the food, all the restaurants and stuff that I like to get at that my family likes. But did you also know you can save 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 plus on your next order of flowers, convenience stuff, groceries, or retail. You can do that all now on DoorDash. And I'm talking about Mother's Day stuff. So if you're thinking about thoughtful ways to get your mom something, your significant other something, your wife, whoever it might be, you can surprise her wherever you are with fresh bouquets, the latest technology, gift cards, self-care treats, whatever it might be to make Mother's Day that much better. And you can do this with DoorDash. So you can get all of your Mother's Day gifts all in one place and get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 plus on your next order flowers, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with Locked On NBA. That's the code, Locked On NBA. That's Locked On NBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. Let's save the why I think this game could actually have some meaning, because I know I saw a lot of people like, oh great, Reaves bounces back and he was much better on on Saturdays than he has been. He finishes 7-15 from the floor, 6 assists, only 1 turnover. The Lakers only turned the ball over 11 times as a team, also extremely helpful in this game. And 6 of those were from LeBron. So everybody else other than LeBron was taking excellent care of the ball. D'Angelo Russell, 8 of 15 from the floor, 4 of 8 from 3-point range. He had 4 assists. He had a steal. Again, only 1 turnover. He was plus 15 on the night. And, played it. The Lakers as a group, but D'Lo is partially responsible for this because he got the ball so much, played at a much better pace. They got up the floor quicker. They got into their offense quicker. I thought Russell had a nice balance between, looking for his shot. He wasn't passive, but he wasn't forcing. It was a nice game for Reaves, who has done pretty good work defensively, I think, throughout this series. And it's a bit of an unfair ask, Andy, you might say, to turn around and you got to perform offensively. That's where the Lakers are. They need him to be both. And he did a nice job.
It ain't unfair. That's the job.
It is, but, right. I mean, just like, if you're saying like who's been better this series, Reaves or D'Lo, you put Reaves higher, certainly.
I think my response would be, who cares? Neither have been good enough.
Right, but Reaves has at least the element of being effective defensively.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying the bigger problem is not who you answer. It's that neither's been good enough. That's really
right. Sure, neither's been good enough, but Reaves, has that added element to his assignment. Both of those guys came through. The Lakers got a nice game from Taurean Prince. Off the bench, 9 points. Rui played limited minutes. This is a difficult series for him, I think, in a lot of ways, but at least he was more efficient with his shooting. He finished with 9 points in 22 minutes, 4 of 8 from the floor. It was a better game from him. But the big thing for me, at least in terms of, the difference between Saturday and the other 3 games, is that you got actually production from both Reaves and Russell in the same game. Like, that's the thing that hasn't happened yet.
No, it's essential. I mean, we've talked before about how D'Angelo Russell is the X factor of this team, and nobody on this team, I mean, I'm not counting LeBron or AD, but nobody on this team raises the Lakers' ceiling more than D'Angelo Russell. When he's on, the Lakers can be extremely difficult to beat. When he's off, they can still win games, but it becomes that much more difficult. But it's really important that your 3rd and 4th best players, if that's what you consider D'Lo and Reaves, they need to show up more often than they don't. If you're going to win a series as the underdog against the defending champions, you mentioned Austin Reaves' assignment. He's done good work guarding Jamal Murray, but truth be told, D'Lo guarding KCP, that's no picnic either. It is running all over the place. You have to keep track of a guy that's moving all the time. Like, it's not a defensive assignment that necessarily, I think, gets focused on as much because Jamal Murray has the ball in his hands more. There's a lot expected from both of these guys on both sides of the ball, and both of them need to show up regularly. When you talked about, though, the team only turning the ball over 11 times, it reminds me of, if I had to nail down like an overarching reason that they won this game, because the Lakers have actually, in this series, they've won far more minutes individually than Denver. This was the game they managed to close out. And I think it is in very large part because this was, I think, the most mistake-free, smartest game that they've played from start to finish. They led wire to wire, and there were so few moments in this game where, as I was watching a possession, I thought, what the F are you doing, pick a Laker? Like, what just happened there? How did that just happen? How did nobody put a body on blank? There were few, if any, times where I was watching the game where I thought that. I thought they collectively played with so much intentiveness and purpose and just cohesion in ways that I don't think they necessarily haven't been doing in this series, because you can't build up that type of lead over Denver as consistently without doing anything smart or without executing anything well. But they haven't done it over 48 minutes the way they did it today. And that, unfortunately for them, is the baseline if you're going to beat Denver, because they are not a team that will more often than not beat themselves. You have to beat them. And if you open the door, even just a crack too often, they will blow the door off the hinges and then just start doing damage. You cannot allow them opportunities. And I thought they did a great job of just preventing it.
Yeah. And, and to some degree, one of the things that helps with that is like, do you get some kind of response? Like, they didn't have these 5-minute stretches where they score 3 points, or these incredibly long dry spells. Denver got within 8, I think it was, and LeBron picked up that steal. They trap Murray, LeBron makes the steal, and they get the dunk at the other end. Or they got critical. D'Lo hit it. It wasn't just that he hit threes; it's that he hit timely threes. Like it was stuff like that. Like sometimes it's Murray this series has not been efficient in the slightest. But what he's been is incredibly timely, and sometimes that matters more. Anthony Davis. Go back to game 2. Anthony Davis's stat line is absurdly efficient, but they did need that night a couple timely buckets, whether from him or someone else, and they haven't gotten them at all in this series. Every that's gotta go shot hasn't gone for the Lakers, and it has for Denver. We'll get into a few things for Sunday into Monday, getting people ready for game 5. You win game 5, Andy, it does get a little bit more interesting in this series.
It's a lot more interesting.
And so, they're just win one game at a time. I want to talk a little bit about free throws and LeBron and how I think that impacts his energy. We'll get into that for Monday. But before we go, I've seen people in our timeline at Cam Brothers and other places saying like, okay, great. Like Reaves and Russell, you show up when it doesn't matter. Like, oh, great. Another game for AD when it doesn't matter. Game 4, the series is already lost, basically. Meaning like they win game 4. They're still probably not going to win the series. What's the point is sort of like, I think but there's a big thing. It is important the Lakers broke this streak against the Nuggets. Does it mean they're going to win the series? It probably does not. I'm not willing to go there yet. They're still very likely to lose this series, but it is a different deal if they go into next season having lost 12 straight games to this team, including 8 straight games in the postseason. You need to break this streak. And now, yes, people will talk about dominance, 2 straight, but the narrative will change a little bit going into game 5, going into next season. And if nothing else, the Lakers just showed we can beat this team. We can close out against them. Denver will be much better in game 5 than they were in game 4 because they do not want a game 6. I don't think this was their best effort. I don't think you would disagree, Andy. But I think it matters that they won this game.
Absolutely. I mean, if nothing else, heading into game 5, you have removed the psychological advantage that Denver had over the Lakers, with the Lakers having not beaten them since pre-Russell Westbrook being traded out of LA. It's been that long. The last time they beat Denver, Russell Westbrook was still on this team. So that was something that they were holding over the Lakers. They don't have that anymore. Doesn't mean Denver's going to fold up and shrivel up or anything like that. They lost games on the way to winning a championship, but that's one part of the psychological battle that is gone. And like you said, one part that's gained is the Lakers now have tangible proof. I think they've always known that they could hang with Denver. They now know that they can actually close it out.
Right.
That matters.
It does. So, again, we'll get everybody ready for Monday. Lakers still can play with that kind of not much to lose attitude. Go out there and do it. And see what happens. They've been in all. They've been winning at halftime. It's a 4th straight game they were up at halftime. So they can, like you say, play with this team, but it'll require an even better effort on Monday because Denver is going to be playing, I think, at a higher level. So Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out, react to this game, get ready for game 5. We, of course, will be back for Monday. Leave us questions, leave us comments. We use them for inspiration, even if we don't read them during the show. So we will see everyone tomorrow.